Sanhedrin, we're starting from 6 lines from the bottom of Tzadik Beis Amud Beis. You learned there were 6 miracles that happened that day, and these are they. The day that Nebuchadnezzar had thrown in Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah in the Kivshan Aish, in the Kalachayim, in the furnace. Tzof HaKivshan. The Kivshan, the Kalachayim, was underground. So the Hebrew made it rise so that everybody could see it above ground. That's one miracle.
What's the purpose?
The purpose that everybody should see it. The miracle that how Manasseh, why everybody should see it. They should you don't send us. And then the walls around the Kalachayim was broken so everybody could see through. Usually a Kalachayim is surrounded by walls, nobody would see it. It was all seen through. The Humak so there are many pirushim. One pirush is that the ground fell with such a heat, so the floor fell out of the yisod. No, it's only Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah. They're walking. That's a part of the miracle. Another pirush means that the lime that was around the Kalachayim melted and started to pour, and it burnt all those people that threw them in. We're going to learn about it. Big groups of people got killed. And the Tzelem Zav of the form that they had of statue of Nebuchadnezzar fell on its face.
On whose face?
Oh no, it fell on its own face, the statue. The statue fell on the floor. No. And the 4 groups of Malachim and the servants that were helping Nebuchadnezzar to throw Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, they were all burnt. And I told you before, one of the Purusha, how were they burnt? Of course, from the heat. Because he said, I'm going to show them, I'm going to make the fire 10 times hotter. It was really very hot. Just from the heat, people died, and also from the lime that poured down, they got killed. And also that day, Cheskel revived those people from the valley of Dura. Remember we spoke about the handsome-looking boys? Who the women, This miracle happened then.
They came back, the boys?
Yeah. He revived them.
So then he can start up with the women again.
And now, once they saw this miracle, they left them alone.
They ran away from that. Anyways.
Okay, yeah, that's true too. All of them is things that are not befedish in a pasuk. It's just, we learned it, and it's a Masada, a tradition. But the 4, Malchiyas, only the 4 Malchiyas, there's a befedish pasuk. You see, like it says in the pasuk, Nebuchadnezzar, Malka, the king of Nebuchadnezzar, Shlach, sent Lemichnash together, Lachashdap, Pnaya, Signaya, Uvhachavasa, Adar, Gazraya, Gidavaria, Disavaria, Tiftatoye, Choshin Medinas, all these governors he gathered together. So if you'll see over here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Now, see, it says that they were mastering on these Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. They came and said, look, there are these Jews that are not bowing. They told them Nebuchadnezzar. And then at the end of the Pasha, it doesn't say all the names of all the governors. There's missing. And then there's only 3. Before there were 7. So that means 4 were killed here. Those that helped the king too close. Those are the ones that got killed. Umiskanshin achash the badapnia signaya ufachavasa. Adavim malka chazayin legubnaya in all the chashdapnim, the sagonim, and the Yoyetzi HaMelech saw these people of Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah that the fire wasn't being shaylet, and they were walking in the fire like Tanit Vayab Yosmin Yaakov. In the yeshiva of Rabbi Lezben Yaakov, they learned even in the time of Sakana, vanished the tumult. Like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, they kept their clothes on, like everything was normal.
What, they believe they're going to survive?
No, they said even if the guf goes away, the neshama goes up Lamaila, they weren't afraid. Like the Rafid Kebbe said, "Zefan by Eich is fan ein God." But by me is by me is Lamaila is that is if not this world, it's only the guf. Neshama get Lamaila. Shenever, like it said in the pasuk, they die in Guvraya Ilek Kifisu. These people, they went in tied up. Bisabulayam with their clothing, pacheya and aprons, v'kabelayim, and the hats, everything. They went into the Kishnaish like normal.
They would go with Shabbos.
Als they was in the cover Shabbos, yeah. Aber Rabbi Yechon hat gesagt, Gedolim Tzadikim Yosef Malachei Hashoris. The Tzadikim of Hanani Meshovi Azai were greater than Malachei Hashoris. Shanama, like it says in the pasuk, Onei ve'Omar, that Nebuchadnezzar answered and said, "Hey, I sent in 3 and now I see 4. And they're not being wounded. And the 4th one, he calls him the 4th one. And Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah were called the first 3. So the 4th one looks like a godly angel.
What was it?
A malach.
Malach.
There was a malach. So you see, the malach was lower than them because he called them the 4th one. At the time when Hanan Mishael Azai left the Kalachayim in the furnace, but called so you saw all the nations, Goyish nations came, and they were hitting and the Bnei Yisrael a chutzpah on their faces. Yes, because they said to the other Bnei Yisrael, Yesh lachem al-kakazeh, you have such a great God that look, Hananiah, Mishael Azai came out of the Kalachim, and you're bowing to our stupid Getchke. Look at your God. He said, Hananiah, Mishael Azai was booked to Nebuchadnezzar. The Goyim was saying, what are you, crazy? Miyad Paschal Yom, right away the rest of the Yidden, they were embarrassed. So they said, L'cha Hashem tzedakah, to you Hashem, we say this in Slichas. Hashem tzedakah, to you Hashem is right, is just. V'lanu, but us, beish is panim, is shameful faces, kayem hazeh, like this day. But that we, the goyim, I'm going to sagen the Yidden Hazois of Meshugayim. What are you bowing to Getchkes? Look at your own people. Look at your God. He took out Hanani Mishael Azai, such a burning furnace that they did it 10 times harder. Yeah. What is this that it says in the pasuk in Shir Hashirim? Amarti Ella b'Tama. The Eibishter says, I said that with the Tama, the date tree, which is the Yidden, I'm going to be elevated with the Yidden. The Yidden are special. But at the end, I ended up holding only to the branch. What does that mean? Amarti Ella b'Tama. I said I'm going to be elevated, exalted with the Tama, which is the Bnei Yisrael. The Eibishter thought that the Yidden will sich miskade sein, nicht bucken sich, they're not going to bow to Nebuchadnezzar. But at the end, I only ended up with 1 branch. That Shel Hanani, Mishael Azariah. They're the 3 that didn't book sich, but the rest of the Yidden did, the whole Tama did. Rabbi Yechon said, what is this that it says in the pasuk? I've seen night. Behold, a man is riding on a red horse. And he's standing between the myrtles, the hadassim, which is in the pools of water. In fact, what's the pshat in the pasuk? I've seen the night. It's referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Eibishter wanted to transform, to turn over the whole world into darkness. What does it mean? Behold, the man was riding. The one that was riding, when it says Ish is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, never like it says, where do we find Hashem is Ish? We say it every day. Hashem, Ish, Melchama, Hashem, Shemai. So you see, Hashem is a Ish. You see, he's Ish. Al Susadim, on a red horse. What does that mean? Wise red. Very good. Dumb. Maybe they wanted to turn over the whole world into blood, to destroy them. But once he looked at Hanan Mishael Azariah, they went on a Mesiras Nefesh and they didn't bow to the Tzelem. And they scattered a die for the Eibishter to calm down. That's when he was standing between the Hadassim, which was in the deep water. Hashem was standing between the tzaddikim. He had to call them off. Shanema, like, where do we see that it means Hadassah means tzaddikim? Shanema, that Mordechai brought up Hadassah. Metzula ela baba. Metzula.
That's what we have
Hadassah. Yeah, yeah. Metzula ela baba. Metzula, the deep waters, is referring to Babel. Babel is in the deep. Never, like it says in the Pascha, he says to the Tzula, meaning Baba, Charavi, I will destroy, and I will dry up the river. Anyway, it says, Miyad, Milayim Reges, Shenasa Shuk Ma'adumin. Immediately, when the Eibishter saw that the Yidden are didn't have Avodah Zarah, he turned into full of anger, and he was going to destroy everybody. And that's what the red means. But once he went between the Hadassim, Chananim, Meshol, Hazai, Nas Levonim, after the Eibishter looked at the Tzaddikim, that they were Meis Nefesh, so the Eibishter calmed down, and the horse
became a
white horse. Oh, look what he says. From this, that the white horse is a good tesimen because it turned white, so we know that's when Hashem calmed down. Papa, Shmami no susya chivar me'al lechalma. A white horse in a dream is a good dream. Okay, we have to start thinking about white horses. You spoke about Hanani Meshova Azai. They came out of the Kalach, they came out of the burning furnace, and then you never hear from them again. What happened to them? Rav said, "Ayin Hara Mesa." They died through Ayin Hara. Yeah, I brought you the Gemara right here. Everybody was wondering. They came out of the Kishna Eish. So what happened to them? So the shot is that they died by Ayin Hara. That's one shot. Shmuel Ama Bereik Tavu.
So what they gained? What did they gain coming out of the
Why? They saved the Yidden. It says by Ayin Hara because the Yidden were being looked down upon the whole time, so they felt it's better that they should go away from this world. This is another shot. The Shmuel Hama Break Tabu, that the Goyim was spitting on them, and it became on those Jews that served the idol. So you're ridiculous. You look at Hanan, your God saved Hanani Meshov Azaya from this multiple of spittle, became Agan Yam, and they drowned in it. Hanani Meshov Azaya. Hanani Meshov Azaya, when they came out of Kibbutz Mashag, it said it's a metaphor. Rabbi Yechon says, "All Eretz Yisrael v'Nas Nashim v'Lidu Banim u'Banis." Rabbi Yechon says, "No, they went up right away to Eretz Yisrael, married women, and they gave birth to Banim u'Banis."
What's the connection?
Says the Gemara Kitanoi. It's a machlokes like the Tanoim, the three shitas. Rabbi Elazar says that he died, that Hanan Meshov Azai died through Ayin Har. They died through the spittle of the Goyim. Yeah, Chama said they went up to Eretz Yisrael, they married women, had Banim u'Banis. So never, like it says in the Pasuk by Nevuah of Zechariah, who was in Eretz Yisrael. Zechariah was a Navi in Eretz Yisrael. Zechariah. Sagt Shma no. Yeshua Kohen Gadol. He said, listen, please. Yazech please. Yeshua Kohen Gadol. You and your friends who are sitting before you, those people that are sitting with you are people of miracles, of wonders. Who are those people? So you see the Fedish, they went up to Eretz Yisrael because you see how Chaya was telling Yeshua, these guys who are sitting next to you are Anshe Mephis. So with Aniyah, who was one part of the crowd. So where did he go? What, he disappeared just like that? Just in the time for throwing everybody in the fire, he disappeared. Where did he go? He went to dig for rivers, big rivers in Tveria. No, the Nebuchadnezzar sent him to find more water.
They didn't throw him into the kitchen?
No.
Why?
Oh, you'll soon see.
He was an older person, but he was probably in the 90s, probably. He came out from...
He was together. He was one group with them.
I know, but he was much older than them.
Maybe. Shmuel says, "La'atuya biza das pasta." He went to bring this seed aspasta, which they didn't have. It was very scarce. So he went to bring this aspasta, which is a min Michael Behema, that you seed it, and within a month it grows right fast. He went to bring these hogs, these pigs, the feta chazerim, when Alexandria in Mitzrayim, because there they had special chazerim. Festa chazerim. Yeah, why? Because they wanted it.
So only he could bring it to them.
So they sent him to bring it. He was advised by the king. He's one of the top officers. In fact, he went to bring pigs from but now we learned from Mishnah. Toidas Harefa, the doctor Toidas, he says, "Ein paroch hazera yetz malaksan yeshal mitzayim, shein chitna aim shalai b'shvil shalai shalah sheb'shvil shalai telet." They had Mitzrayim would not allow any of the special behemoths to come out to reproduce. So if somebody wanted to take a behemoth outside of Mitzrayim, they would cut out the whole womb from the female, so it cannot reproduce. So what are you talking about? He came with hogs. There was nothing to come for. Obviously, he wanted they should bring hogs from Mitzrayim to where Nebuchadnezzar was, the bubble, so they should start having hogs. But they didn't have it because in Mitzrayim they wouldn't allow it. So if you want to know, Daniel Tzrichap, he saw a loophole how to get it out. Zuti, I see, but he says he took the small ones, the real small ones. So there would never be chesed. He's taking small ones, not shaykh to have kids. You take a big one if it's for kids, for reproducing. Yeah. So he took a whole bunch of small ones and he brought them. They let him go without carving out the stomachs there. Three were involved in the advice of getting Daniel away from the Kivshon H. That Daniel shouldn't even be close to that furnace. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with Daniel, Nebuchadnezzar. Each one had its own reasoning that they didn't want Daniel next to the Kivshon H. Here, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Amar, Nezel Daniel Mehacha. Let Daniel get away from here. The Loi Leima B'schus is Nitzel. People shouldn't say, Daniel was such a tzaddik. The only reason why Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah was saved was because of Daniel. The Eibishter didn't want it. The Eibishter wanted to show even lower level people, if you're Meisa Nefesh, the Eibishter will make a miracle. But Daniel says, Daniel himself said, I got to get out of here. The Leila Kain be in Psila Elaheyam Tisvum Meish. He says, I might not be saved because Nebuchadnezzar treated me like a god. That's a Faksich Bukinzimeh. And it says, what are you supposed to do with Avodah Zarah? You throw it in the fire. So he thought if he'll be thrown in the fire, he's supposed to burn because he's a Getchka. So he says, let me get out of here. Nebuchadnezzar said, get out of here because the people knew that I served you as a god. They shouldn't say, I took my god and I threw it in the fire. I don't want people to say that. How do we know that he bowed to Nebuchadnezzar bowed to Daniel? The Siv says, then in that time, Melech Nebuchadnezzar fell on his face, and he bowed to Daniel. So you see the finish in the pussy, he bowed to him.
So that's why he had to run away.
That's why. So three people were involved in getting around. Because Daniel was placed as Chalenas. It says when again in the Via Shaka, this is Chizkiah with Achav. I told you before, these guys were false in the Via. Achav ben Kiloya, be'el Tzidkiyo, ben Maseya. Hanibim lochem b'shmil hashaka. They would say in the Vias, a sheker, mama sheker. Okay, see. It says in the pasuk, what do we see? But look, ma'am, klol l'chil goes Yehuda Asher b'Babel. They were taken from them. The Yidden were caused. The whole Golus Yehuda, the whole exile of Yehuda was because of these two false Nevi'im. Yisimcha Hashem kitzitkiyo ka'achav asher kolas melech Babel ba'esh. Yes, he was. I keep on telling you. Nah, Tzidkiyo b'Maseya was a false. The different Tzidkiyo. The end will be that he'll burn like a roasted barley. Asher Safam Loinema, that was burned, it doesn't say. Elasher Kolam, it says they were roasted like in a fire, like a barley, like a roast barley. It comes to teach us that they turn into roasted barleys. So this is because they did a misazach between the Yiddim Ayinafas and the Shei Reyayim. They committed adultery with the wives of their friends. What did they do exactly? Azul legabe ba'ate the Nebuchadnezzar. They went to the daughter of Nebuchadnezzar. Achav says to the daughter, listen, so says Hashem, Hashmi el Tzidkiyo. Go and live with Tzidkiyo. God is saying, go take it, listen, yeah. But here means more than listen. Further, it says, Hisratzi loy here. Hisratzi loy la'aveda. Yeah. Go, do that. With Tzidkiah Amma, they both were in cahoots with each other. And Tzidkiah says the same thing about his friend. Koyama Hashem, so says Hashem. Hashmi El Achov, you live with Achov. So she has to now live with the two Nevi'im. Each one testified that Hashem said each one should live with this girl. So both of them have to live with her. So each Navi testified to the girl, to the daughter of Nebuchadnezzar, said that you have to live with that Navi. And the other one said you have to live with the other one. So she has now two so far that she has to live with. So she went ahead and told her father. Nebuchadnezzar says, how could it be? He says that God, the Jewish God, hates adultery. What's going on here? So he said to her, listen, when they come to you again, send them to me. Let me take care of business. When they came a second time to her, send them to her father. The father said, Nebuchadnezzar said to Tzidkiyahu, and Achab, man, who told you that my daughter should live with you guys? Tzidkiyahu said to Nebuchadnezzar, what are you talking about? I've been a boy, what's makes the so he says to him, what, really? So Nebuchadnezzar says, I went to Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and they are also Nevi'im. They tell me it's also my daughter shouldn't do such a terrible thing. So Amalei, they said, listen, we do prophets. Listen, to them, Hanan, Mishael, Azariah, the Eibishter didn't tell them anything. To us, the Eibishter said, it has to be done. And Grace Nevi'im done. So he said to them, okay, I know, but I want to check you out. Just like I checked out Hanan and Azariah, if the tzaddikim, I threw them in the fire and they came out, I gotta throw you in the fire. I'm like, hey, take it easy. They were three, but not nine. We're only two, so it's not gonna happen. You gotta give it. It has to be even Stephen. I'm the host, and Nebuchadnezzar said to Achab Tzidkiyahu, okay, choose anybody with you as a third person. So Achab Tzidkiyahu said, okay. We're choosing, who did they choose? Yeshua Kohen Gadol. I guess it's Tzaddik. But he was in Yerushalayim. He knew Hananiah Mishael Azariah is not going to work. They said, take Yeshua Kohen Gadol. So they shipped him down. In the Yerushalayim. These guys were in Babel. They had to ship him. No, Yeshua Kohen Gadol is like, Tzaddik. So they made a cheshbon. Listen, he's a Tzaddik. He'll come in with us. He'll save us. And Zanis Chusm will be saved. Sabri, here, Lacy Yeshua. Yeshua had come in. The Nefisu Chilsei, he has so much schos, and he'll protect us. It's perfect, he says. Okay, so they brought him. They brought him from Yerushalayim down to Babel. Ushdinu, and they threw him into the furnace. Inu Iklu, all three. Achab Tzidkiyahu, and then as it says, Inu Iklu. Achab and Tzidkiyahu burnt like a fire. I mean, they into a crisp. Yeshua Kohen Gadol, Yicharuch Imane. Yeshua Kohen Gadol, his baggage got a little singed, but he was perfect. Never like it says, Vayarenas Yeshua Kohen Gadol, Oim Lefnei Malach Hashem, that he showed me, in Yeshua Kohen Gadol, that was standing before Malach Hashem. Uksiv, it says in the pasuk, Vayem Hashem al Hasotin, Yiga Hashem Becha. He says this was a Nevi'is from before, that the Ud, Mud Mitzol Me'esh, that you, a piece of wood, will be saved from a fire. And he was the wood that went into a fire, Yeshua, and he was saved. Amalei Nebuchadnezzar said to Yeshua Kohen Gadol, if he was saved, he says, Yadana the Tzadikayat. One thing I know for sure, you are a tzaddik because you came out of the fire. Elamai time ahanya ba'put tanura. But why did your baggage get singed? Hananiah Mishael Azariah lo ahanya b'hul klal. So he says, by Hanani Mishael Azariah, the fire didn't touch anything, and you came out a little singed, you beg it. Amalei inu tlasahav. They were three. I was one between two. Amalei, so Nebuchadnezzar said to Yeshua, "Avram yochad hava." Avram was one, and he wasn't singed. He says, "Hasam loy haver rishoyim ba'adei." They didn't have rishoyim between them. They brought the fire. The fire doesn't start if there's only a tzaddik. But when you have rishoyim, they brought already a fire, and then you have two dry wood that's burning. And you have a wet wood in between. Of course, it's going to singe the wet wood. So that's what he's saying. They didn't even give rishus for the fire to start. But here they were rishayim. They allowed the fire to start burning. This is the saying of people. Today, two dry pieces of wood, where there's a wet piece of wood in between, the dry piece of wood will singe the wet piece of wood, and that's what happened there. So my time in Yanish, but that was only a tchiyah. He just pushed off Nebuchadnezzar for an answer. But why Taki did he get punished? He should have came out clean like a whistle. Because his children married women that were not fit for the kuna, and he didn't protest. Never, like it says, Yeshua was wearing dirty clothing. Is it the derech for Yeshua to wear dirty clothing? He was a clean gadol. Comes to teach us that his sons married women that were not fit for the kuna, and he didn't protest. Well, he didn't protest. That's why he deserved a little punishment, that his baggage should be singed.
But why is he wearing dirty clothes like?
It's a remes. It's called dirty because it was clean. But the levushim is his kids, and his kids he didn't protest, so that's how he got fashmutzik. What is this that it says in the pasuk? We know Rus. Nami told Rus, listen, Boaz's wife passed away, and you could marry him as a relative. So Rus says, Boaz gave me 6 barleys. So, in fact, what does it mean? 6 barleys? What is that? Literally, it's not even a spoon for cholent. It's nothing. It's a little 6 barleys. It's a garnish. If you can say it's just it's such a small matana, and if she's poor, you have to.
He gave Rooster 6 serum.
Yeah. So why you give so little? If it's mitzad tzedakah, you have to give. You can't give less than a half a kav of chitim or a kav of serim. But you can 6 little barleys. What's this? Allah only says soyin. He gave 6 soyin of. In fact, what is she? She's not a man. Shlepman carries so much. Allah says the pshat is like this. It wasn't for tzedakah. Ramaz law. He gave her a hint. In the future, she's going to have 6 children, and each and every one will be blessed with
6 descendants.
Yeah.
Shisha
Banim, it says, are going to come out.
Yeah.
Descendants, yeah. So he says, and each one will have 6 brachas. And these are the 6: David, Mashiach, David HaMelech, Mashiach, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah. That's 6. Says you want to David. Where do we see 6 brachas? Says you want to see. It says in Shmuel. It says Vayan echad me'ane'arim hayomer. One of the Ne'arim answered. It was probably Doyek. Shaul's advisors. One of the top of Shaul's advisors says, "Behold, I have seen Bein Yishai, a son to Yishai." Beis halachmi from Beis Lachem. Yodeya Nagin, he knows how to sing. That's one. He's or he knows how to play the harp. They give the chayil, a strong man. Ish Makama, he's a soldier, and Nevein Dava, and he understands. Ish Toya and Shein Gestalt, handsome fellows, fast gebot. Hashem Imai, and David is with him. All 6.
6 months.
It's all 6 months. Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda said, the whole thing was said by Doyeg, and Doyeg was only to Reitzon Shaul to be against David HaMelech.
Even though he said only 6 months.
Yeah, but he just wanted to make him jealous and get angry. Yedeya Nagin, what does he mean? Yedeya Lisho. He knows how to ask Kenyan. This is all in learning. Gibe Yedeya Lahashem. He knows how to answer Kalacha. Ish Mechama. Yedeya Lisvelitim Mechamta Shaltera. He knows how to have a real vikoch in the Talmud. Ish Toya Shemar upon Malacha. Ish Toya brings good rayas to his words, fester rayas. He learns out new halachas from other halachas. He's able to imply new halachas. Yeah, chedushin. Hashem imay shalach yimais b'chol makim. That the halach is like him in every place. B'kula amalahu. Of them, it is. It was like that. B'kula amalahu. And all these shvachim that they enumerate in front of Shaul. Shaul said, big deal. Yoinasam b'nei kamayu. My son Yoinasam is just like David. But only when it came to the last one. Each one, when he said, oh, Yoinasam b'nei is punkt vidam. But even the Amalei. But once he said to him, Hashem imay milsel v'dei nami lo yababei. Once he said Hashem is with him, the halach is like him. That already hit him in the heart. He couldn't, because the halach wasn't even like Shaul. He can never get that the halach should be like him. Cholish daite, he became weak, he kanyabei, and he was not jealous. The Bishol Ksibu, Cholash Yifna Yashia. Meaning wherever he turned and he tried to pass halacha, at the end it came out the halacha was not like him. But David Ksiv, Cholash Yifna Yatzliach. Wherever he turned and he gave a psak and he says a psak, everybody agreed and the halacha is going to be David HaMelech. So with the Nola, the Doeg Haba. How do we know it was Doeg is the one that was telling over to show all the milas? Sibhacha, because it says Vayan Echman Niyarim, one of the Niyarim had answered to Shaul Miyuchet Shema Niyarim. When it says Echad, it means the most chosen one of the Niyarim. Sibhasim Hashem Ish Me'avdei Shaul Vayemahu Netzel Lifnei Hashem. That was Netzel means held back before Hashem. Ushmei Doeg Hadanya Abir Haroim Hashem Shaul. When it says Netzel Lifnei Hashem, you're trying to say somebody was on a very high level. That was Doeg. That he was the one, Echad, the Miyuchad Shabbat Niyarim, Mashiach. And he told it to Shaul HaMelech about David. Yeah.
He was one that killed the Kahana.
Yeah. No, in the city of later. Yeah. Mashiach is going to also be Zeichet to 6 brachos. The Chsiv, it says about Melech HaMashiach, V'nacha Allah Ruach Hashem. The Ruach Hashem will rest on him. Ruach Chachma Bina, the spirit of wisdom, understanding, Ruach Eitzu Gvuda, of counsel and Gvuda, Ruach Das V'Yis Hashem, knowledge and the fear of Hashem. So you have 6 milas. You have Chachma Bina Eitza Gvuda Das V'Yis Hashem. Okay, says the Yimar B'Haricha B'Yiris Hashem, that he's just going to sniff and that's how he's going to have Yiris Hashem. B'Haricha or Haricha, yeah. Omar Rabbi Alexander,
he'll see another person.
Here he says, what does it mean? Hashem. He says we have to understand what B'Harichai says. What does it mean B'Harichai? Okay. Omar Rabbi Alexander, he was loaded with mitzvahs. The Yisurim and also tzoris, karechayim, like in a grinding mill. So haricha is Melashon Rechayim, a mill.
This is about Mashiach, huh?
Yeah. Haricha means a lashon, the mill that they grind. That when the grinder, the mill is heavy, is very heavy, and it grinds and it does hard work. So too, Melech HaMashiach will be loaded with a lot of mitzvahs, but he'll also have a lot of yisurim. Yeah. Rav Amar de Pambia, the Moirach Bedoyin, that he's going to sniff, just by having a sniff, without seeing, he's able to sniff what the halacha should be, just by seeing what's going on. He'll understand what Ruach HaKodesh. See, not with with his eyesight will he judge, and nor with what he hears. He will not have to see or hear in order to judge just. He'll just have the right nose for it. He'll have the right nose and the right way.
Be inspired with the comment
right. Bar Koziva. Shimon Bar Kochva was Bar Koziva. He rebelled against the Romans.
So he's not on the 6. He's
No. It's just a side note. Malach Tatan Shtinu Palga. He ruled for 2.5 years. He said, Bar Kochva said, that to the Chacham, he's Mashiach. Now, you should know Rabbi Akiva did believe him. He carried his Caleb, his clothing. So the Chacham said to Bar Kochva, the Mashiach said, so the Chacham said, hey, you're Mashiach. It says about Mashiach that he's going to be able to sniff, and without even seeing here and judge just. Let's see if you have that qualification. Yeah, giving the Chazir the lame Marafadayin, so they saw, hey, he's not able to. Katlu, they killed him. So there's many Perushim how he got killed.
With a snake, am I supposed to
Oh, they say the snake, yeah. But he got
But
killed.
why did Rabbi Akiva also know what's going on?
Rabbi Akiva mistook at the beginning, and then at the end, he said, I could fight myself, I don't need Hashem. It was terrible. The Nir Hanani was showing Azaya, the Chsibei, that these Yeladim Hashem ain't kol, ain't behem kol mum. They don't have any mum. They were good looking, maskil b'chol chachma. They were skillful in all kinds of chachma. They were able to, they had stamina to be able to stand in the Heichel of the Melech, Ulamdam Sefer and L'Shein Kazan. And they were able to learn and also the Loshin of Kazan, they were able to adopt. What does it mean that they didn't have any mom? Even for the Hakazas Hadam, you had to make a puncture to let out the bad blood. They didn't even have these punctures. There's nothing in the skin. That's zero. No moment. Yeah. What does it mean that they had stamina? They would force themselves from any laughing, from any from sleeping. They held themselves in when they stood in front of the king because of the fear of the king. It says, they were all from Bnei Yehuda. Only the Neil was from Bnei Yehuda. Hanan, Meshol, Azariah, Meshol Shvatim. Hanan, Meshol, Azariah were from other Shvatim. It says, it says over there, from your children, for your descendants of Chizkiyo, the meaning the Nil Hanan V'Shol Azariah, they were from the descendants of Chizkiyo HaMelech, who was a descendant of Yehuda. So, what does it mean, Sarisim? What does it mean, Sarisim? That they were Saris. They couldn't have any children. They castrated them that they shouldn't be able to have children. Nebuchadnezzar. Because they shouldn't be busy with anything else. They should be only servants for the king. For him. That they made the stock of Avodah Zarah fall because they proved that the Avodah Zarah is all baloney. Because of the story with Hanan and Meshol Azari, they went into the Kalachim. They didn't bow and everything was perfect. So they made the stock, the effect of Avodah Zarah fall down as it was a crash in the market of Avodah Zarah. Says Gemara Bishlein Lamandi Amash and the stock of Avodah Zarah V'Mayim, I know the Sir, V'Chavol Lo Isbahem. That they didn't have any wound whatsoever. If it means Sadis doesn't mean that they were castrated. It means just that they made the Avodah Zarah ineffective. But Ella, the man Yama Saris Mamish, that they were Sarisim. So what does it mean? What does it mean? They didn't have any mum. They befeidish had it to gefalach mum. Vaksiv. It says in that Inyan Bereyach Nud Loi Adas Baheim. It says the reich of the fire didn't go. The smoke of the fire didn't enter them. That's what it means. It says Gemara. So what? I'm sorry. And the Gemara Chavlo the Nur. It means that the fire didn't affect them. It doesn't mean a mum. The fire not affecting, you're ready, we know it didn't. It says the smoke didn't enter into their bodies. It says it means both. There was no wound and there was no smoke of the fire that hurt them. It went into them. It says that the stock of Avodah Zarah fell because it was worthless, had no effect because of them. So the Kavanah is those Sarisim, the Nil Hananya, Mishol, Azariah, where the Pasuk mentions them for Shvach. What's the shvach? What was the praise? That they made the Avodah Zarah ineffective. That they were mamish sarisim. What did the Pasuk is going to talk about? Genai of tzaddikim. But you want to it was both. Sarisim means side, they were castrated. And Sarisim also means the Maila, that they got rid of Avodah Zarah. And the people saw the Avodah Zarah's belonging. Says, you want to be I'll have to stop here. We'll go tomorrow.